I be sparking and rushing mad like inside the dark. Call me Bill Snatcher, just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a gauntlet and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And today we're gonna have a little bit of a follow-up to one of the videos that I made earlier on in this week, as well as a video that was done at the end of last month, which is essentially talking about Sarada Uchiha's Mangekyou Sharingan. And I want to follow up on this simply for the fact that I've seen a bunch of people saying, my God, it's too early for Sarada to get the Mangekyou Sharingan. And I've gone through and I've read all of the reasons that people have for why Sarada can't get the Mangekyou Sharingan, why it's too soon for Sarada to get the Mangekyou. And I think right now is the time that we need to just blow up this huge crux that people have that Sarada at the age of 13 going on 14 potentially is too young to get the Mangekyou. And a huge reason people say this is that Sasuke didn't get Mangekyou until he was 16. Therefore, Sarada can't get Mangekyou until she's 16. And the fact of the matter is that if she got Mangekyou Sharingan, despite what a lot of people are saying, Sarada would not be the youngest person ever to get the Mangekyou Sharingan. Case in point, Hitachi Uchiha. If you look at the Hitachi Midnight novel, so the second of the two Hitachi Shinden novels, in that novel, which it was adapted into the anime, this scene was cut out. They gave Shishui's Mangekyou Sharingan awakening story to Fugaku Uchiha, but essentially Shishui tells Itachi a year after he graduates the academy, in the aftermath of the Third Great Ninja War, when they're doing all that cleanup, Shishui ended up awakening the Mangekyou Sharingan because he witnessed the death of one of his teammates and he felt guilty because he had the opportunity to save him and he didn't actually save him. Shishui graduated from the academy at age 7, which means that Shishui was 8 years old when he awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan. When you look at Itachi, Itachi was roughly the same age that Sarada is currently, but it's because of what happens with how Itachi is drawn, he looks older than he actually is. Itachi was 18 years old at the end of Naruto Part 1, but because the Uchiha massacre took place back when Sasuke was in the academy, you got to take years off. Itachi was barely 13 years old when he awakened the Mangekyou and slaughtered the Uchiha clan. Sarada right now in the manga is 13 years old and she should be coming up on her 14th birthday. We know that based off of time markers in the anime, so she's potentially even older than Itachi was. That's just one of the problems that you run into with the art style. Itachi looked older than he actually was when he was 13, and to some people Sarada looks younger than she actually is. That just comes down to Studio Pierrot's art style. The time marker indications that we have in the anime and manga tell us a different story though. Even though she looks like she barely grew from the time that she was 11 years old during the Naruto Gaiden stuff, so all that stuff with Shin Uchiha, time has passed since then. That's reason number 9026 that I wish that we had data books for the Boruto manga, not the character profiles, not the Borokara stuff, but an actual data book. Because if you tell somebody that's just casually watching the anime or casually reading the manga that there have been 3 different time jumps that have taken place in the anime continuity, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. But moving back to it, Saradas Age getting Mangekyou, we got quite a few characters that got Mangekyou at a younger age than her. If anything, Sasuke was just a little slow to the party just based off what we've seen off of the 2 people before this. Now, I want to say the other thing on this too is that when we look at the plot reasons behind it, without going into spoilers, because I don't want to spoil anime only fans right now, because this isn't the time of month where we talk about spoilers, the stage has been set there for Sarada to awaken a Mangekyou Sharingan, because you have certain events that have taken place in the Boruto manga right now where it's too much of a layup to not go ahead and have Sarada get that power, because again, you're going to get the the opportunity to save killing anybody else that Sarada has a major attachment to for later on in the story. Now, I want to kind of address this other thing where people say that if Sarada gets the Mangekyou Sharingan, she's going to be one of the weakest Uchiha to ever have the Mangekyou Sharingan. I think you're absolutely wrong on that. Sarada's displayed enough right now, so where we do need to put some respect on Sarada's name. She's progressing at a pretty good rate. The only thing that we've had issues with is if you look at the anime continuity, which for a lot of you guys, that's how you digest the story. In the anime, she's been progressing through her Sharingan slower than what her father did. However, in the Boruto manga, this is not the case. In the manga, Sarada's actually quite a bit more skilled than what you see in the anime. She's got the 3-tomo in the manga and the light novels. She was directly trained by Sasuke to maximize the usage of that 3-tomo. And in the manga, we see her, she's using the Chidori without any type of hand signs. In the anime, she's still using hand signs. I'm not necessarily griping over that, but the fact is that manga Sarada is more proficient using her Sharingan than anime Sarada. However, the thing on it is that she's not a slouch. When you add in the fact that she's been doing the chakra control and she's been able to use those chakra enhanced attacks, the reason why that's so important is when you look at the Deepa fight, when Deepa fought against Team 7, Mitsuki went into his Sage transformation, unleashed his full power on an attack, and he couldn't lay a scratch on Deepa's carbon armor. The same thing when it comes to Konohamaru when he uses one of the strongest fire release jutsu that you have, the Dragon Flame Bomb Jutsu, doesn't put a scratch on Deepa's armor. However, after going through her training with Sasuke and Sakura, Sarada was able to crack Deepa's armor when she and Deepa were fighting in the rematch. So it's one of those things where look at the fact that Boruto's Rasengan, which is changing Chakra's shape taken to an extreme, the Rasengan wasn't able to do any damage, and in order to put several cracks into Deepa's carbon armor, Boruto needed to use the compression Rasengan. Sarada was able to crack that armor with her chakra enhanced punches. So it's one of those things where she's stronger than she's being given credit for. And I think that this is a running theme that we see with this current generation. I think that a lot of people tend to look at this younger generation because it's in an era of peace. They don't necessarily understand that some of these kids are doing stuff that their parents were not able to do until we got to the war. Like Choji was not able to manifest butterfly mode without the assistance of those chakra pills until we got to the war. Chocho, over the span of a couple of years in the anime training under Choji, was able to manifest butterfly mode and get the 100 times multiplier without assistance. That's just Chocho. When you look at some of these other kids that have been training with their parents, it's even more broken, but especially when you look at Sarada. So when you start looking at Sarada potentially getting a Mangekyou Sharingan, the next question people have is like, well, she might go blind. And the thing I would say is that Shisui had Mangekyou for 7 or 8 years, no blind issues. Itachi had Mangekyou for almost a decade before he went blind. The only reason why Sasuke's Mangekyou burned out as quickly as he did is because Sasuke was an idiot that was spamming Mangekyou like crazy, and he burned out that Mangekyou Sharingan light very quickly. Even with Madara and Izuna, based on how things look in the timeline for the Warring States era, they didn't burn out that fast either, when you compare it to Sasuke at least. That man's Mangekyou Sharingan burned out faster than I was able to put up that Boruto pack merchandise on the Naruto Explained Teespring, which you can get for 20% off using the promo code PACK, P-A-C-K. For as big of a genius as Sasuke is, that was one of the dumbest things that Sasuke did, in my opinion. But the fact is that Sarada's not a scrub. I understand people have a tendency to let nostalgia cloud, or they weigh their opinion based off a character likability. Likability has nothing to do with the facts. Sarada is not a scrub by any notion of the definition. She picked up on chakra control in terms of those chakra enhanced punches faster than her mother did. She used the Sharingan to copy the process, but that's still something very impressive. And when you look at manga continuity, depending on how you look at it, Sarada didn't use any hand seals for the Chidori in the manga. Now she did in the anime, so that's up to you which continuity you use. Manga and anime Sarada are on two different skill levels. Manga Sarada has a 3-tomo and a more proficient Sharingan. Anime Sarada has a 2-tomo that has an evolved to that third state yet. But in the manga, doing it with no hand signs being shown on panel, if that's something that holds up, that's something her father wasn't doing till he was 16 going on 17, and Kakashi wasn't doing that stuff until Kakashi got to the pain arc. In no way am I saying she's as strong as those variations of the characters, but I am saying that in terms of skills, she's shown quite a bit of skill. Chidori with no hand seals is pretty damn impressive, but that goes back to what I said about this new generation. I don't care how skilled they are. Up until now, they haven't shown that they have the power to back up that skill. So what Boruto in the Boruto movie and in the versus Momoshiki arc in the manga was able to use 3 changes in chakra nature, 12-year-old Naruto would have bodied them. Skill means nothing when you don't have the power to back it up, and what we've seen ever since the introduction of the Chakra organization is that these characters have begun acquiring the power that's needed, and we've seen it with how they fought against stronger opponents. And via the anime, we've seen it how they've been seeking out training from people like Kakashi, Sasuke, Chakra, and etc. That's one of the benefits to the manga going into a time skip. You're able to level characters up off screen. This is a great opportunity to go ahead and beef her character up because of the way that time skips function in general. Whether or not we see something like with Kakashi, where Kakashi was shown gradually getting stronger after the time skip, each arc Kakashi showed off a little bit more power and was showing gradual increases in chakra reserves, that remains to be seen. Who knows, maybe you see Sarada get a massive boost in power the same way that Sasuke did with his training with Orochimaru. That's the benefit of a time skip. All that stuff happens off screen, and you as the reader and the viewer, you just take it and accept it. That's easier to do when you have a likability for the character, but likability comes second to what the overall facts are. We're gonna see a power up. She's very likely, in my opinion, to be getting a Mangekyou sooner than her father. Those are likely going to be the facts, and if they are, the facts are the facts. However, I want to know from you guys, do you guys think that if Sarada gets the Mangekyou Sharingan, she is going to be the weakest Uchiha to ever have Mangekyou Sharingan? Let me know down in the comment section below, but as always, guys, anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.